The sun rose slow and easy over Applewood, casting a golden hue that seemed to promise a day of tranquility and simple pleasures. The first light of dawn painted the sky in soft pastels, a gentle reminder of nature's daily miracle. Pink and orange light crept across the cornfields, transforming the landscape into a canvas of warm, inviting colours. Each stalk of corn seemed to bask in the glow, standing tall and proud, as if welcoming the new day. Birds sang sweet songs in the old oak trees, their melodies weaving through the branches and filling the air with a sense of peace and harmony. The oaks, ancient and wise, stood as silent guardians of this serene morning. A gentle breeze rustled through the leaves, carrying with it the fresh scent of dew and the promise of a new beginning. The leaves danced lightly, whispering secrets to one another in the language of the wind. It was a perfect summer morning, the kind that made you want to linger outside and soak in the beauty of the world around you. The soft sunlight filtered through the trees, casting dappled shadows on the ground and creating a mosaic of light and shade. The town of Applewood was still asleep, its streets quiet and still, as if holding its breath in anticipation of the day ahead. The only movement came from the occasional flutter of a bird's wings or the gentle sway of a flower in the breeze. Most folks were farmers, used to waking up early to tend to their fields and livestock. Their lives were governed by the rhythms of nature, each day a cycle of hard work and simple joys. But even farmers need their rest, and this early hour was a precious time of quiet reflection before the day's labours began. It was a moment to breathe deeply, to appreciate the beauty of their surroundings, and to gather strength for the tasks ahead. The only sounds were the rooster crowing and the distant moo of a cow, a symphony of rural life that signalled the start of another day. These familiar sounds were a comfort, a reminder of the continuity and stability of life in Applewood. It was the kind of morning that made you want to sit on the porch swing with a cup of coffee, savouring the warmth of the mug in your hands and the gentle sway of the swing. The world seemed to slow down, allowing you to fully appreciate the simple pleasures of life. The kind of morning that made you feel grateful for simple things like the taste of fresh coffee, the sound of birdsong, and the sight of the sun rising over the fields. It was a time to reflect on the blessings of life and to find joy in the present moment. The kind of morning that felt like it would last forever, stretching out in a timeless expanse of peace and contentment. It was a moment suspended in time, where the worries of the world seemed distant and unimportant. But for Anna, this peaceful morning was about to be shattered. As she stood on her porch, savouring the tranquility, an unexpected event was unfolding that would change everything. The serenity of the dawn was a fragile thing, easily broken by the twists and turns of fate. The ringing cut through the silence like a knife.
Anna jolted awake, heart pounding. She fumbled for the phone on the nightstand. "Anna, it's David." His voice was thick with emotion. "It's Mama. She's asking for you. She's asking for you, Anna."
Anna's breath caught in her throat. Her mother, so sick these past few years. Applewood Hospital was a good hour away, even with speeding.
"I'm coming," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Tell her I'm coming."
Anna hung up the phone. The peaceful morning felt a million miles away. There was only one thought in her mind. Get to Mama. 10 minutes, that's what the doctor said. 10 minutes, maybe 15 if they were lucky. 10 minutes to say goodbye.
Anna threw on clothes, her hands shaking. She raced out the door, not bothering with shoes. The gravel driveway bit into her bare feet. Her old pickup truck coughed to life. She slammed it into gear and sped down the driveway, dust billowing behind her. 10 minutes. Every second felt like an hour. She gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white. Her mind raced.
The old truck rattled and shook as Anna pushed it to its limits. She flew past the Johnsons' farm, the old barn looking like a blur. She ignored the speed limit signs, didn't even see them. The engine roared, a beast unleashed, as if it shared her urgency. The countryside blurred into a tapestry of greens and browns, the familiar landmarks melting into one another. She felt the vibration of the road through the steering wheel, a constant reminder of the speed she was pushing. All she saw was the road stretching out in front of her like a ribbon of hope. It was a path that seemed endless, yet it was the only thing that made sense. The horizon beckoned her, promising something she couldn't quite grasp, but desperately needed. Each mile marker she passed was a silent cheer, urging her to keep going, to not look back. The road was her escape, her sanctuary, and her prison all at once. The sun climbed higher in the sky, casting long shadows from the trees. The air grew warmer, but Anna didn't notice. She was lost in her thoughts, her mind a whirlwind of emotions. The warmth of the sun was a stark contrast to the coldness she felt inside. The day was beautiful, but it was lost on her. She was on a mission, and nothing else mattered. The sun's rays flickered through the leaves, creating a dance of light and shadow on the road ahead. She was numb, driven by a force she couldn't control. It was as if an invisible hand was guiding her, pushing her forward. She felt detached from her own body, a mere passenger in her own life. The urgency was overwhelming, a tidal wave of emotion that threatened to drown her. She couldn't stop, wouldn't stop, until she reached her destination. The force was relentless, a constant pressure that kept her foot on the gas pedal. Memories flashed through her mind like lightning. They were vivid and sharp, each one a jolt to her system. She saw her childhood home, the place where she had grown up, the laughter, the tears, the moments that had shaped her. They were all there, playing out like a movie in her mind. Each memory was a reminder of what she had lost and what she was trying to find again. Mama teaching her to bake apple pie, the kitchen filled with the sweet aroma of apples and cinnamon, the warmth of the oven, the sound of laughter. It was a simpler time, a happier time. She could almost feel the dough in her hands, the sticky sweetness of the filling, Mama's voice guiding her, encouraging her. Those moments were precious, a treasure trove of love and comfort. Mama reading her bedtime stories, the soft glow of the bedside lamp, the soothing sound of her voice, the way she would tuck her in, making sure she was safe and warm. Those stories were more than just tales, they were a connection, a bond that nothing could break. Each word was a promise, a reassurance that everything would be okay. Mama holding her hand during a thunderstorm, the fear that would grip her, the way her heart would race with each clap of thunder. But Mama was always there, her presence a shield against the storm. She would hold her close, whispering words of comfort. Those moments were a lifeline, a beacon of light in the darkest of times. They were the memories that kept her going, the reason she was racing the clock. She remembered the fights, the teenage angst, the hurtful words.
Leaving for college and not looking back.
5 years since she'd been home. Regret washed over her like a tidal wave, 5 years wasted.
Why hadn't I come home sooner? Why hadn't I picked up the phone more often?
The truck hit a pothole, jolting her back to the present. She couldn't think about that now. She had to focus on getting to the hospital. But the memories wouldn't be silenced. They clung to her like ghosts, whispering their regrets. The old bridge came into view, a rickety wooden structure that spanned the Willow Creek. It had always scared her as a child. The creaking planks and the way it swayed in the wind made her heart race. She remembered the stories her grandmother used to tell about the bridge, tales of ghosts and spirits that haunted its wooden beams. As a child, she would avoid it at all costs, taking the long way around just to avoid crossing it.
It looks like it's one good storm away from collapsing. The wood is weathered and worn, with gaps between the planks that seem to widen with each passing year. The railings are barely holding on, and the entire structure seems to groan under its own weight. It's a wonder it hasn't fallen into the creek below.
But today the bridge represented a different kind of fear. A fear of time running out, a fear of not making it in time. She was racing against the clock, every second ticking away like a heartbeat. The urgency of her mission made the bridge seem even more daunting. It wasn't just about crossing safely, it was about reaching the other side before it was too late. The weight of responsibility pressed down on her, making her feel as fragile as the bridge itself.
She held her breath as the truck bounced and swayed across the wooden planks. Each jolt sent a shiver down her spine, and she gripped the steering wheel tighter, knuckles white with tension. The truck's tires seemed to slip on the worn wood, and for a moment she feared they might break through. But she couldn't stop now. She had to keep going, had to reach the other side.
The sound of the old wood groaning under the weight filled her with dread. She didn't dare slow down. Every second counted. The creaking and groaning of the bridge seemed to echo her own fears, amplifying the sense of urgency. She could almost hear the bridge whispering to her, urging her to hurry, to not look back. The weight of the truck seemed to press down harder with each passing moment, and she could feel the bridge straining beneath her.
As soon as the truck reached the other side, I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Relief washed over me, but it was fleeting. There was still so much to do, so much at stake. The bridge was behind me, but the journey was far from over. I glanced back at the rickety structure, grateful it had held up one more time. But I knew I couldn't rely on it forever. The next storm might be the one that finally brings it down.
The hospital came into view, a beacon of hope amidst the fear. Anna's heart leaped into her throat as she pulled into the parking lot, gravel crunching under the tires.
She didn't even bother putting the truck in park, just jumped out and ran.
The automatic doors slid open and she rushed inside. The smell of antiseptic filled her nostrils. The sound of the beeping machines echoed in her ears.
My mother, Anna Miller, where is she?
The nurse pointed down the hallway. Room 212.
Anna ran, her bare feet slapping against the linoleum floor. She burst through the door, her eyes searching for her mother.
There she was, pale and frail, lying in the hospital bed, tubes and wires snaked around her.
David sat by her side, holding her hand. He looked up as Anna entered, his eyes filled with a mixture of relief and sorrow.
5 years melted away as Anna rushed to her mother's side. 5 years of anger, resentment and regret.
She took her mother's hand, her own tears falling freely now. Mama, I'm here.
Her mother's eyes fluttered open. A weak smile spread across her lips.
Anna, her voice barely audible. You came.
Of course I came, Anna sobbed, clutching her mother's hand tighter. I love you, Mama.
I love you too, baby girl.
In that moment, there was nothing else. No anger, no regret, no pain, just love, pure unconditional love. The sun began to set over Applewood, casting long shadows across the hospital room. Anna sat by her mother's bedside, holding her hand.
The doctor had come and gone. There was nothing more they could do.
It was just a matter of time. Anna knew this time there would be no regrets. She would cherish every remaining moment, every breath, every heartbeat, every whisper of "I love you."
Time. It was the most precious gift we had, and yet it was the one gift we took for granted the most, until it was almost gone.